All right, what's up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be finishing up the starter decks coming out. We got ST-24 Bonney, I believe it is, Green Jory Bonney, I think it's ST-24, and then I think ST-28 Green Yellow Yamato. All right, so let's do this, guys. Let's get right into it. We're going to be on a slightly different format than the previous ones because these have not come out yet officially on the main site here. Notice we have the red Shanks deck, the blue Bege deck, purple black Luffy, and black Marshall D. Teach, but they have not actually fully released these on the main site just yet for ST-24 Bonney and ST-28 Yamato. So we're going to be using pretty much pictures from that from Discord. So we'll look at that when we get to it. But we are going to be able to check out all the new cards first this time. I have those set up in basically a slideshow format where we can check out all of those first and then the actual deck list as well. So, with that in mind, I'll have everything timestamped in the general description. I'll have all relevant links and stuff like that in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. Today's video is sponsored by Nin Garden. Their summer kickoff sale is live, and they are offering 10 to 60% discounts across the entire store. So be sure to check that out, and don't forget to use my code, the VV Theory, at the checkout for an additional 5% off. Now, let's do this, guys. Let's get right into it. I have to give a big shout out real quick here to two people from the Discord, Aliot Paul and Giga. I think it's Giga Human. For the ones they were able to hook us up with. I don't know where they got it from. I think they said they got it from Twitter or X or Reddit, whatever. I don't know, guys. I have no idea. But they were able to hook us up with these pictures here. We'll talk about in a little bit here of like the decks in their entirety. Okay, but the rest of these cards I think we got from the actual. There's like an unofficial community One Piece TCG Discord, and they have a bot set up where if you just link that to your channel, you can get all this stuff on there, right? And that's where that's where I get most of my, or that's where I get all of my, all of my spoilers and stuff like that. It's from that Discord. So big shout out to them, and big shout out to Aliot and Giga for hooking us up with the actual entire deck list, wherever they found those. Okay, now let's do this, guys. You've been warned. Spoiler warning. Spoilers incoming. We're going to start off with X Drake up here at the top left. 5 cost, 5,000 power, 2K counter with an on play. I think we've already looked at this on the channel, but we will at least go over it real quick. And my apologies for the quality, guys. This is as best we could get for now because, again, they have not been officially released on the website. Okay, on the official, One Piece TCG website. So this is a 5 cost, 5,000 power character with a 2K counter. The on play is if your leader has the Supernova type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Then set up to one of your Dawn cards as active at the end of the turn. Supernova, Navy, and Drake Pirates type, and it is a slash attribute character. That is kind of relevant for OP12 once we get our hands on the new Green Zoro leader. But overall, I don't think this card needed to be type locked. That's just me personally. Tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. But other than that, I think this is just a very solid 2K counter. 5 cost, 5,000 power, 2K counter. That's a very attractive stat line, and the on-play effect to be able to rest a 5 or less and then stand a Dawn up at the end of turn. I think this will be good in pretty much all of the, all of the current Supernova leaders in the game. Because even if you're not running Bonney, because Bonney can get the most out of that on play effect for the end of your turn, standing up a Dawn, that's going to be really, really solid. Being able to use your leader effect while tapping out completely. But even something like Green Yellow Law, or I'm trying to think what else, like any other kind of green Supernova leader, like Green Zoro coming out, having one Dawn as active is going to allow you to run. It's going to give you the potential to run like 1 cost events, and we're seeing quite a few really solid utility 1 cost events coming out in the future. Okay, so really good card here. Nothing too crazy. It's not great, but it's also not bad. Just a great utility 2K counter specifically for Supernovas. Okay, next up we have Basil Hawkins here. Check this out. We got a 4 cost, 4,000 power, 2K counter character with an end of your turn effect to set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. This is a Supernova and Hawkins Pirate type character, and it's slash. It is a slash character for what it matters. Excuse me. I think this is kind of like a utility version of Urouge, where instead of it being a 4 cost, 5,000 power character with a 1K counter blocker in this end of your turn effect, this is a 4 cost, 4,000 power character with a 2K counter in the end of your turn effect, but does not have blocker. So it's like you're trading out blocker for the extra 1K counter, but then you're losing 1K power For what reason? That's one thing I will say about this card. I hate to be so picky, guys, but I'm just trying to tell y'all what I think. I don't, let me say it like this. I don't think this X-Drake should have been type locked. I don't think it needed to be type locked. I don't think this card was too dangerous. And the same idea with this Basil Hawkins here. I don't think this card needed to be 4,000 power. I think it should have been a 5,000 power character with a 2K counter and the end of your turn effect. I understand this is just like a common, but it's in a starter deck, so that can be kind of tricky to label it as a common. Sometimes commons in starter decks are like not accurate, right? Because I think the 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter purple queen that did the Dawn -1, draw 2, trash 1, and it's a blocker. I think that is a common from the starter deck 4 or whatever it came from. I think it was ST-03 or ST-04, and it's like, there's no way that should be a common. And I kind of have the same idea here with Basil Hawkins. I feel like this is kind of like technically more like an uncommon. But whatever the case is, I feel like they could have gave it a 5,000 power and it would have been completely fine. But either way, this was the safe way to do it. This is a very nice end of your turn effect to stand up some Dawn, to have some counter events, even if you're not running Bonney where you need the extra Dawn to rest down characters. Yeah, just a solid 2K counter. Just a very solid utility 2K counter. I like that this one's not leader locked, or not type locked, so this can be run in any type of green leader moving forward in case it comes up. So pretty good stuff here. But I will say this, we kind of talked about this on the stream last night. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned this, guys. We stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday here on YouTube on the VV Theory channel. We stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 9 p.m. Eastern to 12 a.m. So be sure to hang out with us on there. If you get bored, come stop by and see what's going on. I really try to interact with the chat as much as possible. I try to read every single thing they put in there. And I think one of the general consensus seems like, okay, it's not that this is a bad card. It's more like, is this something we needed in Jory Bonney, which is the leader that this deck is made for, right, for this starter deck? And I think most people were kind of saying like, yeah, it works in there, but I don't know if it's really what we needed because we already had Urush. So it's kind of interesting to think about in that way. And yeah, so that's Basil Hawkins. I don't want to spend too much time on it. There's not too much more to talk about. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below on all of these new cards. I'm very curious to see what people are going to say about them. Okay, next up we have Capone Gang Bege. This is a 2 cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter with blocker. And on play, if you have 6 or more rested cards, draw 1 card and trash 1 card from your hand. And of course, it's a Supernova Pirates card and Fire Tank Pirates. So I think this is a nice little utility blocker. It's not like it's a bad card. And in fact, on play, if you have 6 or more rested cards, draw 1, trash 1. That's actually very good. Like, that's actually a very solid, like, utility aspect of, I think green kind of needed something like this, where it's like, okay, maybe you have way too many bricks in your hand. Okay, we'll play out something strong for the turn. Maybe it's on a, like, let's just say it's like a 6 Dawn turn. Maybe you play out a 5 cost Cavendish, play out like a, I don't know, play out this card, I guess. Hang on, let me do the math on that. If it let's say it's like a 6 Dawn turn, like I said, you play out Cavendish, you get 2 Dawn back from that, so you have 3 Dawn left for the turn. You play out, you attack in first with your leader, and then play out this Bege, and now you're cycling a card, and you have a Dawn left for the turn to go from there and use your leader effect and lock down your opponent's attacks. So I think the card is solid, or even to cheat this out with the 8 cost Eustace Kid, you're getting a blocker, you're going to be able to draw a card. However, how important is this, and is something like this going to be able to take the place of like a Rosinante? I seriously doubt it. Again, it is a very high utility card, but Bonney was already a very tight list. Now, I'm not saying we should only worry about Bonney, but that is the deck that this card was made for. This is made for Jory Bonney, the leader, right? This is ST-24, Jory Bonney's deck here, however you want to say that. And I don't know if this card really is going to take the place of something we already have access to, like a Rosinante. But who knows? It is a searchable Supernova card, and they're probably going to be running Jory Bonney in there, the searcher. And you can search this up. It's a 1K counter. It's a blocker. You can cheat it out with the 8 cost Eustace Kid. It does a draw 1, trash 1. It's not that it's a bad card. It's just going to come down to, do we have room for something like this? Do we have space for it? And is this what Bonney needs to take it, to take that deck to the next level? We'll have to see what happens. Now, one thing I will say about this card in particular, and the X-Drake behind me here, these cards are probably going to be very, very solid in OP10 Green-Yellow Trafalgar Law. In Green-Yellow Trafalgar Law, these those 2 cards are actually going to be very solid. The Bege and the X-Drake in particular. Okay, so good stuff there. Let's go ahead and move on. Not too much to talk about. I think it's just a solid utility card, and it does help fix your hand. Not bad. Okay, next up, we do have, we got the SRs. Now, we have seen Law and Beppo. We're going to talk about that more in a minute, but we're going to go over Kid and Killer first here. We have a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter on play Searcher here. This is a Searcher card, guys. Supernova and Kid Pirates, Kid and Killer here. So on play, do a top 5 search and reveal up to 1 Supernova type card out to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And then on your opponent's attack, you may trash this character and set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. So I was kind of discouraged with the fact that this was a 2-cost card for Bonney players. Now, for Green Yellow Law, this is actually a great searcher. We already had most people were running the 2-cost. Oh goodness, I forgot the name of the card. Carmel. We were running 2-cost Carmel in what would be this card's spot anyway, a 2-cost draw card effect. But this is now a 2-cost with 2,000 power, 1K counter, and it does a top 5 Supernova search. This card is going to be outstanding in Green Yellow Trafalgar Law. But as far as like Bonney goes, again, the deck this is made for, I think they'd still rather just have the 1-cost searcher Bonney. You guys tell me if I'm off on that. Wouldn't you rather just have the 1-cost Bonney? Because when your opponent has to go to attack into it, you can just rest down their character. And if it costs 2 Dawn to search with this card here, it's going to cost 2 Dawn to search with Bonney to play it out for that turn and use the effect. I'm not sure. Tell me what you guys think about this card in the comment section below. But I'm not really like head over heels about this card. I'm not really in love with it. And I hate to sound like a broken record. It's not that this is a bad card. It's just it's not great. Now, let me explain how the on your opponent's attack effect would work here. It does work with Bonney. At least if I'm understanding the timing correctly on this, it will work like this. So, all right, let's say your opponent attacks. They declare an attack with their leader, right? Okay, I'm going to attack into this target. Okay, so they do any when attacking effects right then. And now you will get to do any on your opponent's attack effects or once per turn effects when your opponent attacks type of thing. Okay? And then you'll be able to use, since you have 2 of them, you have your Bonney and this one, the Kid and Killer's effect, you can choose the order of them. You will choose to activate the Kid and Killer first, trashing this character, setting a Dawn as active, then you'll choose to use the Bonney's effect to rest a Dawn and rest down and attack a character on your opponent's side. So this should work just fine with the leader effect if I'm understanding it correctly. I mean, I'm sure they designed it like that for the leader. It makes sense. But other than that, I will say that on your opponent's attack effect it's really not very good for anything else Supernova. That is like that effect there is made specifically for Jory Bonney. Now, yes, you can use this in any other, you can use this card however you want to. But I really think that effect there was catered more towards Jory Bonney. And I really don't like the fact that you have to trash this character to do the effect. I don't know. Maybe they should have made it where you can rest the character to do it. Would that have been too strong? Maybe, because you can keep getting too much value from it. But your opponent can always just attack into it as well. I feel like it wouldn't have been too powerful like that, I will say. But who knows? I guess Bandai did enough testing and they determined, yeah, it's going to be too strong. But let me say this right now, just I personally, I focus more on Green Yellow Law than I do on something like Jory Bonney. So for me personally, I'm just going to pretend the on your opponent's attack effect just isn't even there. For me, this is a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter character with a on-play top 5 search for Supernova. And that's all that I need to see. For that, I think this card's excellent. But the on your opponent's attack effect does help out Jory Bonney, but it's going to come down to the question will now become okay, are you going to run this over the 2-cost? Or excuse me, over the 1-cost Jory Bonney, or are you going to just run both of them? Are we going to try to make just a purely Supernova list now with Jory Bonney? I guess we can try it, but we'll have to see what happens. Let me say it like that. We'll have to see what happens. I do think this card is solid, though. In general, this is just a very high utility SR, but I almost wish it was a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter top 5 searcher. Instead, they made it a 2-cost version, but it lost 1,000 power so they could have this on your opponent's attack effect. I wish I could trade that out for the 3,000 power instead of that effect. But hey, that's just me. I'm just being a selfish Green Yellow Law player right now, guys. Bear with me. But good card here. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Really good stuff. Okay, next up we have Law and Beppo here. This card has also been, this one had already been revealed. It's a 10 cost, 11,000 power character with on play, it's Law and Beppo. It's a Minx Supernova Heart Pirates type character with on play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters and and that character will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. Then, if your opponent has 2 or more rested characters, your leader gains plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. So that is very good. Understand right away that the effect is very good. The question will become, again, is it worth replacing something we already have in Jory Bonney, like the 10 cost Doflamingo? That will become the question here. And honestly, guys, for newer players, I don't think they're going to care one way or another. Hey, at least they got a really strong 10 cost card, a 10 cost 11k that rests down a character, buffs my leader potentially, and locks down that character for the turn. Seems good to me. Overall, I think this card is just fine. Nothing too much to talk about. We have already talked about this on the channel. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but I think this is just an overall very solid card. Just nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. But going to 7,000 power is no joke either. Okay? Going to 7,000 power for the turn, pretty good in a list that's already very defensive like Jory Bonney. But playing it out on 10 Dawn means you don't get to have the extra Dawn at the end of turn for your leader effect to rest down another attack. So you'll have to really pick and choose your battles there. Is it worth running Law and Beppo, or would it be better to run 10 cost Doflamingo? We'll have to see what happens. But, you know, and then, hey, that's where people are going to make the argument like, hey, why not just run Basil Hawkins? Why not just run Urush? Well, that comes down to the deck builder's decision there. Okay. So now let's go ahead and look at the deck list in its entirety. I'm going to put myself right here in the middle. I'm going to drop my camera size down for just a minute so we can see everything. Again, we found that, you know, some people on Discord, Aliot and Giga, were able to find these deck lists like this. I don't know how accurate they are. I would assume they're accurate because look how it's set up with all the 2 ofs, then everything else is a 4 of. It makes sense. So we're going to just, again, if this is the official list, we're going to talk about it like it is. If this is the list, I'm not in love with the way they set this up. Let me go through the list real quick and we'll talk about it. So we went over all the cards at the top already. Those are the new cards that came out for ST-24. Then we have 2K counter Scratch Minapoo over here. I can kind of zoom in. Hopefully you guys can read that. I know the quality's not perfect, but hopefully you guys can read what it does. On play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. It's a Supernova searchable 2K counter. Really good stuff there. Next up is Urush, the 4 cost 5,000 power 1K counter blocker we were talking about. This has end of your turn, set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. Again, end of your turn, setting up a Dawn as active. That's going to go with your leader effect perfectly. Let me go ahead and put this on the leader real quick. For those who are not aware of what Jory Bonney does, if you're a brand new player, it is a 5,000 power green. It's a 5,000 power green 5 life leader, and it has Supernova, Bonney Pirates as the types, and it has on your opponent's attack once per turn, you may rest one of your Dawn cards and then rest up to one of your opponent's leaders or character cards. Very, very powerful defensive effect there. Okay, so Urush, this card here, and the Basil Hawkins we were looking at. Let me go to that over here. The Basil Hawkins here, this has, set up to one of your Dawn cards as active at the end of your turn, just like the Urush, so they kind of do the same thing. I'm actually going to drop my head down to the bottom right corner so we can see these cards a little better. But yeah, this is just a great utility blocker. It does make a lot of sense with Jory Bonney. Next up, we have Caribou or Caribou. It's a 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter blocker with if you have 6 or more rested Dawn cards, this character gains plus 1,000 power. So just like the Bege we saw, if you have 6 or more rested Dawn cards, get a special effect. In this case, you end up having a 4 cost, 6,000 power blocker, and this is Supernova searchable. So is the Urush, by the way, Supernova and Fallen Monk Pirates. But Caribou or Caribou is a Supernova Caribou character or type character with a 4 cost 5,000 power 1K counter, and it can become a 6,000 power blocker on your opponent's turn. You know, or, well, just in general, excuse me. If you have 6 or more rested Dawn cards, this character has plus 1,000 power. Now, this goes off of Dawn cards that are rested, whereas the Bege actually goes off of just cards. Notice this, on play, if you have 6 or more rested cards, draw 1 and trash 1. The Caribou or Caribou has, he requires a condition of 6 or more rested Dawn cards. But then he's able to swing in for 6,000 power if you need to go offensive with him. And otherwise, he's a 6K blocker. Okay, good stuff there. Next up is this card, Corabo. which is a 3-cost, 3,000 power character that has on play up to 1 Caribou with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. Okay, so you see the synergy going on there. You can play out this 3-cost Caribou to play out the 4-cost Caribou if you have these in your hand. Good stuff there. Very cool, interesting stuff going on. You know, you're filling out the board. Not a huge fan of this in Bonney, but I'll try to talk more about that in a minute once we look at the deck in its entirety. I don't think this is really something that Bonney's trying to do. This is not really the theme that Bonney is going for. It really is more of a defensive, how do I say, it's more of like a fortress style build in the game. Okay, so there's that row. Now let's go down to the bottom left. We have Bartolomeo. This is a solid reprint, 3 cost, 4,000 power with a 1k counter. It has blocker, and then your turn, once per turn, if a character is rested by your effect, draw 1 card and trash 1 card from your hand. This is just a nice utility blocker for Supernova Pirates. Then we have Monkey D. Luffy, a 5-cost, 6,000 power card here with a 1k counter that has, if you have 3 or more characters, your characters with a cost of 3 or less other than Monkey D. Luffy cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. That seems really good for a deck that's running super low-cost characters like what we're seeing here. We'll talk more about that in a minute as well. But overall, I'm not a huge fan of this card. Just in general, when it first came out, I was not a big fan of it. It did not see a lot of play. I don't think this is really the best direction for green, especially for Bonney. But who knows? You guys tell me what y'all think in the comments section below. Okay, next up we have Zoro. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter character with when attacking. If you have 3 or more characters, this character gains plus 2,000 power during this turn, and then it's a Supernova Straw Hat character. This is just a nice 1-drop to play out. Seems good. Nothing too fancy. Just a really nice card for if you are flooding the board, you have a good character here. A really solid character. I'm not a huge fan of this card, though, in Bonney. I will talk about that more in just a minute. Next up, we have Demonic Aura, 9-sword style, Asura Demon 9 Flash, which is a 2-cost event. It's a Supernova Straw Hat Crew type event with main up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. Then you may rest 1 of your characters with a cost of 3 or more, and if you do, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, and then trigger rest a 4 or less. This is actually a really solid utility event, to be honest. It's good for tapping down stuff. I think this card's completely fine in a starter deck. It makes a lot of sense. It allows you to cash in on your value from some of these other cards like this Korobo here, because you have to rest down. You may rest up to 1 of your characters with a cost of 3 or more to rest down 1 of your opponent's characters that cost 5 or less. So we can rest down that card like this Korobo. We can rest down something like this Bartolomeo. Maybe... well, that's about it. Maybe this Basil Hawkins or something. I have no idea. But you're going to be able to rest down 1 of your characters to clear a path for your bigger attacks, right? And then last but not least, we have this Bonney here. This is just a 1-cost searcher. It's not Bonney. It's a 1-cost searcher called More Pizza. It has a picture of Bonney on it. And it says, look at 5 cards. Let me zoom in. There we go. Main, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Supernova type card other than More Pizza and add it to your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And then trigger, draw 1 card. So it's really not that bad. So now let's go ahead and analyze this deck in its entirety here. I'm actually... So this might be the starter deck that... I hate to spoil it a little bit, but this is the one I'm disappointed with the most. And I'm talking about it in terms of a starter deck. Understand where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from the standpoint of, like, what does it offer the meta? It has nothing to do with that. Because there are cards in here that probably will work out just fine in a bunch of decks. And some of these cards are already being used in certain decks, right? Like we've seen, we have seen Urouge and Apu being run in Bonney already and stuff like that. I'm not saying that none of these cards are playable. What I'm trying to say is notice the cost curve of this deck. Every card in here costs 5 or less outside of the Law and Beppo SR. So, like, where are the vanillas? Typically speaking, in a starter deck, there's usually a few vanillas, and I think that's a good thing. I don't even think that's a bad thing for the starter decks, because again, you have to imagine a new player walks into the card shop and they see a starter deck. I know that's probably a meme in and of itself, right? Guys like, oh yeah, product available on the shelf. Good one, Vivi. Good one. I know. But bear with me. Just imagine the thought, though. Okay, this is called a starter deck. Okay, so imagine you're a new player. You walk into the card shop, and you're like, you know what? I want to play Bonney. I really like the character Bonney, so I'm going to play that. And then this is the deck you get. And think about it. Yes, it does have searchers. It has the more pizza searcher and the 2-cost kid and killer, and it has some blockers. It has some 2K counters. It has all the basic stuff. It even has like a really good top-end card as with Law and Beppo. That's going to be a very solid top-end card. But where's like your 6, 7, 8, 9-cost characters? They're just nowhere to be found. Instead, they give us this 5-cost Monkey D. Luffy. So let me say this again, guys. I'm not 100% certain if this is the starter deck or not, but the way it was posted makes me think it was. Especially because, again, guys, look at this. If I'm not mistaken, this Demonic Aura 9-sword style Demon 9 Flash or whatever it's called, I think there's usually a foil version of this card. Like, I think when it first came out, it was a rare, and it had like a foiled pattern on it, and this does not look that way. So maybe this is a starter deck after all, with certain cards and different rarities and whatnot. I don't know. Y'all tell me if y'all know anything about it in the comment section below. But let me tell you right now, guys, if this is accurate and this is the actual starter deck for Jory Bonney, I'm a little bit, you know, disappointed in this one. I'm going to be honest. And I know a lot of people are going to say stuff like, yeah, well, what do you think about the Shanks deck? Well, I actually think Shanks is a solid starter deck. Again, we're not talking about what does it offer the current Shanks leader in the game, you know, like the current meta deck. We're saying, like, again, you take this, you take the deck off the shelf, you slam it down, and then you play it, right? You pull it right out of the box, you shuffle it up, and you play a game. Well, so far, this is the one I was disappointed with the most. Purple Black Luffy looked awesome. Blackbeard looked incredible. What else? Yellow we're going to talk about in a minute, and it did not look this bad. Again, I hate to like spoil it, but yellow looked fine. We're going to talk about green, yellow Yamato in a minute. But what else was there? Blue Buggy. Guys, if they're playing Blue Buggy, half these cards aren't going to be able to attack anyway. You're going to have all these cards on the board that can't even attack to begin with. But let's just pretend. Let's not use that. That's an unfair example with the 7-cost Buggy. But then, what was the other one? Then there's Shanks, right? So we did Shanks. It was red. Now we're on green right now with Bonney. Blue is Buggy. Purple, black is Luffy. Black is Blackbeard. And yellow is going to be green, yellow Yamato. So, like, out of all 6 of the starter decks, this is the one I'm disappointed with the most. And I'm just trying to be honest, guys. I'm not trying to be, you know, not trying to say anything too controversial. I'm just trying to say, like, out of all of them, this is the one I'm disappointed with the most. But who knows? You guys have to tell me what y'all think about it. Maybe I'm off on this. I don't play a lot of green, to be fair, and I make that very well known on the channel. Green is not my best color, so maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it's like a bias type of thing. But again, it just seems like we're missing vanilla cards that are well statted to help carry us through the mid-game. And then we're just lacking all top end outside of the 2 Law and Beppos. Like, we don't have any 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 cost card other than Law and Beppo. So how is it supposed to compete in the late game when your opponent starts dropping down, like, you know, Purple Black Luffy starts dropping down, you know, their 6 and 7 cost characters, or even like Blackbeard dropping down their new 7 cost Teach? It's just going to start eating up all these cards. It just doesn't seem right. I don't know. Buggy, like I said, they're going to drop down their 7 cost and lock down most of these characters from even attacking. And then Shanks is going to go 9,000 power or 7,000 power. When Shanks starts looping his not looping, but, you know, chaining his 9-cost 10Ks together, you're a 7,000 power leader. None of these cards are even above 5,000 power except the Luffy and the Beppo. So I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed with this one. But there are some cool cards in here. Like I said, there's cards I'm going to need in here. That Kid and Killer, I'm going to need that Kid and Killer for my green, yellow Law deck. All right, that's it. That's enough ranting and raving about green Bonney here. Let's go ahead and move on to green, yellow Yamato. All right, so first up we have Kazuki Momonosuke. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power Landawano Kazuki clan character with, if you have 2 or less life cards, let me zoom in for you guys. If you have, this is a your turn only effect here. It is not your opponent's turn. This is a your turn only effect. On your turn, if you have 2 or less life cards, your leader gains plus 1,000 power. Okay? And then activate main once per turn. You may return 2 total of your currently given Dawn cards to your cost area rested. I would usually call that attached Dawn, like attached Dawn, but I guess the terminology they've chosen to use is given. That's the technical name for Dawn that has been attached to a character. They're going to use the word given. Okay, that's fine with me. So you're going to return 2 total of your currently given Dawn cards to your cost area rested. Then this character will gain rush and plus 1,000 power for the turn. Okay, so not too bad. Overall, I'm going to move my camera down to the side here. Hang on one second, guys. So not too bad overall. I'm not a huge fan of this card, though. Believe it or not, guys, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think it's bad. But it's just a very odd card, I have to say. Like, the way that it's set up, let me say it like this. It's a 6 cost 7k. Those stats are fine. You don't have a 1k counter. And then the first effect is a your turn only effect. I actually wish it was the other way around, because then it would double over as yellow Yamato support as well. For those who are not aware what yellow Yamato does, the leader, I think it's ST-08 or ST-09 leader, and it has a Dawn ×1 effect that says on your turn, if you have 2 or less life, your leader gets plus 1,000 power. And I think that would have been a really cool design for a deck where it's like, okay, I'm going to play out these Momonosuke's, I'm going to stack those up on the board, and my leader is just going to be a massively powerful character or a leader on my opponent's turn once I'm down to 2 or less life cards. I think that would have been a really cool design. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Now, I know what some people are going to say. It's like, yeah, but these stack, right? You can stack up multiple Momonosuke's. It's like, well, yeah, that's kind of the point. Hey guys, that's actually what I'm going for, right? I'm just kidding, of course, but hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. So real quick, though, let me summarize, and let's go over this real quick, or really lock in on it. The activate main once per turn, I don't think it's like terrible. But it's very strangely worded. Let's read it one more time. You're going to return 2 of your total cards that are attached to something on the board back to your cost area rested, right? So you may return 2 total of your currently given Dawn cards to your cost area rested. That goes perfectly with green yellow Yamato, the leader, obviously. But it has, and then this character is going to gain rush and plus 1,000 power during the turn. But there's one thing I do want to tell you guys, or like kind of mention up front here. This card, you're not really going to be able to use that activate main in anything other than green yellow Yamato on curve. So in other words, if you slam this card down on your 6th Dawn turn, first of all, your turn effect might not even be active, right? Because you're going to have to be at 2 or less life cards just to be able to get the your turn effect. So you'll probably still have like 3 or 4 life, I would assume, right? I mean, unless you're just taking life super aggressively, trying to get triggers, that is an option as well. But let's just pretend that your turn effect is on for this example. So okay, you're gonna get to swing in for 6k when you play this character out. So swing in for 6. Hopefully you got an attack through on the turn before this or on this turn, and then from there you're going to be able to attach 2 Dawn to this character. So play this character out for the. Well, actually, hang on. You already played it out to swing for 6, right? In the example we're giving. So you're going to play out Momonosuke, resting your 6 Dawn for the turn, and then attach 2, swing for 6 with your leader if you have 2 or less life cards. And then you're going to attach 2 Dawn to this Momonosuke with your leader's effect. And then you're going to activate main, return the 2 attached Dawn cards back to your, back to your cost area rested, and then you can rush in with this character and do plus 1,000 power during this turn. So I have to say it's a very interesting card. I'm not a huge fan of it though, because of how restricted it feels to something like green yellow Yamato in particular, in order to cash in on playing this card out on curve with tempo. Because if you're playing any other yellow deck, other than maybe red-yellow that can move Dawn around, like Dawn assignment stuff, other than red-yellow, if you're playing any other version of yellow, this is basically a card you cannot even play until your 8 or 9, or your 8+ Dawn turn, because otherwise you can't attach 2 Dawn. Only green-yellow Yamato can really do that. And I will say, that kind of frustrates me a little bit. I'm not going to rant about this for too long, but hear me out for just a second here, guys. The thing that frustrates me about that is when you look at what we just saw. Okay, let's go back real quick, and then we'll move on. When you look at all the cards we just saw for Jory Bonney, these cards seem like they're going to be good in like all kinds of different decks. And I've even seen people say, excuse me, I've seen people saying, like, on the Discord, in the comment section and stuff like that. I think it's mainly the Discord, actually, or maybe it was on the stream last night. I've seen people say, like, dude, this looks like a green-yellow Law starter deck in disguise. And I don't disagree with that. I don't actually disagree with that idea. That is kind of what it seems like. Like, man, yeah, a lot of these cards are going to be really good in green-yellow Trafalgar Law, and, like, the new green Zoro coming out in OP12. It almost didn't even seem like Bonney support in some ways. Not that it's not, I am not saying it's not Bonney support. It can definitely be used in Bonney as well. Please don't misunderstand me, but hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying with, like, okay, it looks like this is actually more geared towards other Supernova decks coming out in the future. Whereas when you look at this card in particular, this Momonosuke, man, this is like a card made specifically for green-yellow Yamato. And yes, you can play it in other decks. Like I said, I'm sure there's going to be like some type of red deck you can play this in, like maybe red-yellow Sabo, who knows? And you can run like the Dawn reassignment Nami and attach 2 Dawn to this card, right? There's a new, for those who are not aware, let me zoom out for just a second here. There is a Nami that came out in ST-21 that looks like this right here. It's a 3-cost Nami. It's a 3-cost 1,000 power, 1k counter character. Activate main once per turn. Give up to 2 Rested Dawn cards to one of your Straw Hat... Oh, actually, hang on, never mind. Actually, you can only attach to Straw Hat type leaders or characters. I don't know. Whatever the case is, maybe you can combo like the smaller Nami, give up to one of your Rested Dawn cards to your leader or characters. I have no idea, guys. I'm just going to say this. This card, realistically, is only going to be able to swing on curve in Green-Yellow Yamato, okay? Because with Green-Yellow Yamato, let's use this example. Say we're going second, right? Say we're going second, so turn 1 pass or play out a search or whatever we have to do for the turn. Turn 2, we're going to need to swing in for like 7 or 9 just to be able to attack through and get them down low enough in life so we can use our leader effect for the next turn, because then next turn, we're going to have to slam down Momonosuke, and then use our leader effect to attach 2 Dawn to him, and then use his effect to return the 2 Dawn just to give him Russian 1k counter. And remember, guys, you can't use the leader's effect for Green-Yellow Yamato unless your opponent has 3 or less life. So it's kind of a nightmare. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm not going to lie. Otherwise, you're playing it on a 7 Dawn turn if you're going first. I guess maybe that's the better way to do this. I don't know. I am just not a big fan of this card. I have to say it. Because what you're going to have to end up doing is you have to give up your turn 2 just to smash into your opponent's face. Like, I mean, you might as well on turn 2 swing 9 at their face if they have no blocker. And if they have a blocker, you might as well pay 2 to rest it down with some type of effect of some sort, like maybe the new, I think there's a new, oh gosh, I can't remember the name, but I think there's a new 2-cost event coming out. It's like Jet Gatling. I think it's coming out in OP11. It is a green Supernova or Straw Hat card. I think it costs 1+1. It's one of those events that has like the 1k counter for the leader and then an activate main effect. It's like you're going to be able to pay 2 and rest down a character and then smash in for 7 with your leader or something if they play out a blocker, because you're going to have to get your opponent down to 3 or less life in order to use this card on curve. Because then if you do get them down to 3 or less life, okay, next turn on your 6 Dawn turn or 7 Dawn turn, whenever you had to play this, you're going to be able to slam this character down and then attach 2 Dawn to him and then activate main to use his effect to, you know, be able to swing in for the turn. It just doesn't seem great. It seems like a card that was not well thought out. Maybe I'm not thinking about something. We are going to look at some of the other cards that go with this that are coming out in the starter deck. We'll try to figure it out from there. But overall, I'm just not a big fan of how this card was designed. Not to say it's bad. I'm not saying it's unplayable. But, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with this one. Okay, moving on. Don't want to spend too much time on it. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Okay, so let's go ahead and start from left to right here. So first up we have Ashura Doji. This is a 3-cost 1,000 count, or 3-cost 3,000 power 1k counter character with on play if your leader has the Land and Wano type and your opponent has 3 or more life cards. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 5 or less. I am just not a fan of that, guys. I don't like when they're doing stuff like this. I liked how Land and Wano was before, like the yellow stuff in Land and Wano, where it was based around like think of Kikinojo, right? Think of Nekomamushi. The trigger is if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, you can play the cards out with the trigger. Okay, I liked that. I thought that was a good direction for the deck and for Green-Yellow Yamato and for the Land and Wano yellow package, all that. And then we get over to this. And it's like, if your leader has Land of Wano type, so it's restricted to Land of Wano only. With this on-play effect is Land of Wano leaders only. And then, and your opponent has 3 or more life cards. What happened? Why are we going 3 or more all of a sudden? Why couldn't this be if your opponent has 3 or less life cards? I feel like they messed that up. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm not saying we can't make something like that work. I'm just not a huge fan of how they designed this card. I wish it was the opposite. I wish it was 3 or less. But then, if you can meet the 3 or more life cards on your opponent and your leader's Land of Wano, you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 5 or less. So hitting a base cost, that's the best part about this card for sure. But that condition could be brutal, guys. Later in the game, this is just a dead card in your hand. Late in the game, when your opponent's at like 1 or 2 life or 0 life, you got a 3-cost 1k counter in your hand. That's what you have. You just got a 1k counter in your hand. What are you going to do with this? I'm just not a huge fan of that. Man, that's frustrating. That's annoying. Anyway, tell me what you guys think about this in the comments section below. All I'm going to say is this. I want a more consistent theme. Like with Purple Straw Hats, they have this thing. They're a little bit off on some of their stuff, but for the most part, it's like, okay, if you have 8 or more Dawn on your field, then you can do a special effect, like with Usohachi or whatever. I think that's fine. Or how they have they have another type of on-play effect where it's like, okay, on play or when attacking, they have, an effect where you can Dawn, you can return 1 or more Dawn cards to your Dawn deck and then do the effect. I love that. I think that's a really good design for Purple Straw Hats right now. Excuse me. But with Yellow Land of Wano, I feel like they really dropped the ball with this. Okay, actually, let me say this. I think it could be cool. I think an effect like this could be cool with Green Yellow Yamato in particular, if they're going to build the entire list around, like, okay, I'm going to drop down my opponent down to 3 or less life, and now I have access to all my other stuff. So it's like, okay, once I drop them down to 3 or less life, then I can start attaching 2 Dawn for free, and then I can have all these really cool activate main type effects or on play effects that return given Dawn cards back to my cost area rested, and then I can have another beneficial effect. I actually do like that the more I'm thinking about it. I just think with this card in particular, I wish it was designed in a different way so that you can for sure get that rush like really consistently, and with decks, like, more decks than just Green Yellow Yamato. And let me say one more thing as well about this card real quick, guys. Think of it like this. For those who might be thinking like, yeah, but 6 cost 7k rush, that's way too strong. Guys, we have a 5 cost 7k rush in the game right now. We have a 4 cost 6k rush in the game right now. Yes, they're both conditional, but think of it. If you're trying, think about what this Momonosuke does. It says on your turn, if you have 2 or less life cards, your leader gains plus 1,000 power. Okay, well, guess what? On your turn, I said that your turn, it doesn't apply to this example, but, if you have 2 or less life cards, you play out the 5 cost 7k ace, and you're rushing in for 7. I'm just saying, it just, again, let me move on. I'm sorry, guys. My apologies. My apologies. I said we would move on, but I did have to at least mention that. It's just something that popped in my head, and I think it was even mentioned in the stream last night. It's just like, man, I feel like they just kind of dropped the ball with that one. Maybe I'm just expecting too much from it. Who knows? But let me finish up on this card here, Ashura Doji. Hitting a base cost of 5 or less is massive, and for the more Fortress style of Yamato, I think this card's probably going to be outstanding in there, because you play it out, it's a 3,000 power body, which is actually not terrible for what the leader Green Yellow Yamato does, because you can attach 2 Dawn with the leader effects later in the game, and now you're swinging it for 5 pretty much for free, just for, recycling used Dawn. So I think the card's fine. I just really wish it was the other way around. I wish it said if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, then you could pop a 5 or less with the base cost. Or a base cost of 5 or less. Okay, moving on. Now we have Izo. Izo is a 2 cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter, Land of Wano, former Whitebeard Pirates type character. With Dawn times 2, this character gains blocker. So there's that Dawn times 2 effect that goes perfectly with our leader. You love to see that. That's really solid. Then it has an on play, your Land of Wano type leader gains banish during this turn. I think I've mentioned this. I can't remember, guys. I've gone over so many different spoilers over the past few weeks here. I think I've already mentioned this one on the channel before. I know I mentioned it in a stream. But let me say this, guys. I'm actually just kind of disappointed in this card altogether. Because if you compare this card to another 2-cost card, we're going to hop out of this real quick and head over to the sim one more time. Nice. It's already up. If you compare the Izo we just saw to this Onami, I think this card is actually just better in every way, shape, and form for Green Yellow Yamato. This is a 2 cost just like the Izo is. They're both 1k counters. The Izo is a 1,000 power character that has Dawn times 2 give it blocker. And then this is a, Onami is a 3,000 power character. So if you use your leader effect, you're giving it 2 and you're swinging for 5. And then on play, give up to one of your leaders or characters banish. It's not locked in any way, shape, or form. And then the trigger can KO a 5 or less. It's got a trigger built in and everything. I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to harp on this for too long here. I don't want to talk about it for too long. I just feel like this card should have been better. I do think that this Izo should have been stronger. I think it should not have been locked to Land of Wano type leaders. Okay, because guess what? What would be the one leader you're scared of this card going into where it would be too strong? I think you're going to say Green Yellow Yamato, right? Well, here's the thing. It's already locked to Green Yellow Yamato in like other Land of Wano leaders, and then you still have access to the Onami. So you can double up on the banish on a double attacking leader. So what's the problem there? My apologies, guys, if you hear my stomach rumbling, I'm getting hungry here. So I just don't quite get that. I don't understand what they were going for here. I'm actually a little bit disappointed with this one. And then, now I will say that the Dawn times 2 effect is kind of nice utility, so you can double over as a blocker. But I mean, I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm always going to run the Onami over this card in green, yellow Yamato. Now, I might choose to run both, so it's nice to have the extra option, but if I had to choose, like if I only had 4 spots left in the deck and the option was to run Izo or Onami, it's Onami every single time. I'm just saying. I don't know. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. All right, now, moving over to the last one here. Let me move to the other side. We got a green, yellow Yamato. We have a lot to talk about here. Solid card, by the way. We got a 1 cost, 0 power, 1k counter, searcher, top 5 searcher for land of Wano. And then it has Dawn ×2 on your turn. This character gains plus 3,000 power. Let me read the on play actually, because it is a little bit different for searchers. It's look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Land of Wano type card with a cost of 2 or more and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So it cannot search up any of the 1 cost Land of Wano cards. So you can't search up You Can Be My Samurai. You can't search up like a 2k counter Otama. There's a lot of there's a lot of Land of Wano cards. Let me not even say green. There's just a lot of 1 cost Land of Wano cards you can't even hit with this card. I'm a little frustrated by that, to be honest, and they did all that just so that it could have this really powerful effect of Dawn ×2, give Yamato plus 3,000 power. Guys, I'm going to be honest, at this rate, this should have been a 1 cost card. With the way the game is going, with all the 6,000 power leaders in the game right now, this should have been a 1 cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter card with the Dawn ×2, give plus 3,000 power, so that way you can swing for 6. That's number 1 right off the top. I think they should have taken that into consideration. Whatever, they didn't. It is what it is. And then on play, not being able to search up. I mean, I would be fine if you just couldn't search up a Yamato, guys. Why did this card even have to be Yamato? Why did it have to be an SR, too? I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be too negative. I'm just saying, there are so many questions I have. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Like, why didn't they call this one... Like, here's what they could have done. This is just my opinion. They could have called this card Kazuki Yamato or something like that, right? They could have even called it... I don't know. I'm trying to just... I was going to say Kazuki Odin or something like that, because I've seen cards that mess around with that idea before. I understand they want you to be able to search up other Yamato cards. Well, if that's the case, then make it something else, right? Just make it another card, not Yamato. Was there no other option that they could have pulled from to give that effect? I don't know. Whatever. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. I'm just going to say this. Yes, this card is going to be fine in something like Yamato. In green, yellow Yamato. And I'm going to try to make this work in other decks as well. I've been begging for a yellow Land of Wano searcher for a long time now for my guy Red Yellow Sabo. But when I saw it was this, I was a little bit discouraged. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, guys. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I was a little bit disappointed. But it's going to be great for the starter deck. It's going to be great for that, and I'm sure it's going to be fine for green, yellow Yamato, because the idea is, okay, you play this out early. You get your searching in early, and then later in the game, you're going to be able to use your leader effect to give 2 Dawn to this Yamato, and they're swinging for 5,000 right away. They're swinging for 5,000 right off, right from the rip. So not too bad in that regard. I think it's fine for a searcher. It's not great for a searcher, and it's an SR. That's the other thing that was like the icing on the cake there. Where it's like, oh man, they decided to use an SR slot on a searcher. You hate to see it. They did the same thing for Bonney with the 2 cost searcher Kid and Killer. But hey, it is what it is. It is just a starter deck after all, nothing to get too worked up over, and it is a good card in general. It's not a bad card at all. Don't misunderstand me, guys. I'm not trying to be too negative. I'm just saying it's a little bit underwhelming for the players who are really focused on like improving standard decks and stuff like that, or even just rogue, janky, off meta decks. A little bit disappointing. Okay, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, not a bad card. It should be just fine. So I will say this. So let's talk about a combo. All right, let's talk about a combo we can do with the cards we just looked at. We do have one more card to look at. Hang on one second, guys, and then we'll check out the entire deck list. There is a combo we're going to be able to do with the new Momonosuke here, potentially. Okay, let's say we're going second, and we go turn 1, play out Yamato. Okay? Turn 1, we play out Yamato, we do a search, and we say we get the Kazuki Momonosuke. Okay, fine. Now, turn 2, we can smash in for 9, right, with our leader, and that should go through, knocking them down to 3 or 2 life, depending on what leader they're running. Maybe even down to 1 life, but then it won't matter anyway, against like the 3 life leaders, because then our effects are turned on anyway. Okay, so then, you ready for this, guys? On our 6th Dawn turn, here's what we can do. All right, here we go, guys. Maybe this is what the entire deck was built to do. On our 6th Dawn turn, we play out Momonosuke first. Our opponent's on 3 life. Wait, but are we on 2 or less life? Let's pretend we took every hit, guys, and we're on 2 or less life, okay? Let's pretend we're on 2 or less life. Okay, we play out the Momonosuke. We use our leader effects to attach 2 Dawn to the Yamato over here. They swing in for 5. Then we swing in for 6 with our leader, because remember, guys, we swing in for 6 with our leader because on our turn, if we have 2 or less life cards, our leader gains plus 1,000. And again, for this example, let's just pretend we took a bunch of hits there aggressively so we could get this effect off. Then we return the 2 Dawn cards from our Yamato. We probably should have done that before we attacked, but from the 1-cost Yamato, we return those 2 Dawn cards back using this effect, and then we swing in for 8 with Rush. Okay, all right, that's kind of cool. That's not bad, guys. That's not too bad. Tell me what you guys think about that in the comments section below. All right, we got one more card to look at. This is the new, card revealed for ST-28. This is there were 5 new cards in every single starter deck, right? This was the 5th one. It is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 2K counter, Kinemon with Land of Wano and Akazaya 9 type. And it has trigger. If your leader has the Land of Wano type and your opponent has 3 or less life cards, play this card. Awesome card here for Land of Wano. Can't play anything else, but hey, we'll take it. It's like they learned, I guess, guys. It's like they decided we didn't like that you could run Neko Mamushi and Kikinojo and all those in any deck outside of Land of Wano. And they have retroactively, or not retroactively, now they've proactively changed it now to where it's like, okay, we're going to, all these trigger bodies, we're going to start locking them to certain types, like what we saw with the promo Law. I think there's a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 2K counter promo Law. That's the exact same way. We're going to look at that real quick, guys. Hang on. Let me type in Law. Yeah, here it is. So this is the exact same thing. My head's in the way. Yeah, 1 second. So this card's the exact same way, where it's like 4 cost, 5,000 power, 2K counter, and it's just like the this one is actually, it's not like the Land of Wano stuff. This one's kind of like the Revo Army stuff, where it's like, okay, trigger if your leader has the Supernova type and you and your opponent have 5 or less life, play this card. So pretty cool stuff there, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of how they restrict cards like that, but again, it's nothing to get upset over. I wish they'd figure out how to make some of these cards more universal, especially for green and yellow. I feel like they're just doing so much locking here and there. I understand they're trying to keep the game balanced, but hopefully they find a better way to do it in the future. Okay, well, tell me what you guys think about this one. We're not going to spend too much time on this. This is a great inclusion into green, yellow Yamato, of course. You're going to be able to bash in, and then if you're probably going to be able to just attack in with your leader and take every single hit, right? And then once you take these hits, you're going to be cheating out characters from your life. Seems really good. Now, let's check out the deck list, guys. Again, this is the same idea as the other one we saw. Hopefully, this is accurate, because I will say this, guys. This list looked way better to me than the Jory Bonney list. Okay, so up at the top here, first of all, look how incredible this Yamato looks. It looks so good. I'm going to read this for the newer players. Apologies again for the quality. This is all we can work with right now. That we have to deal with this because this is what we're having to work with. So we have a... I don't know why I shrunk my head up here like this. There we go. So we have a 5,000 power, 4 life, green-yellow leader, double attack built into the leader unconditionally. Every time you attack, it's a double attack. And then activate main once per turn. If your opponent has 3 or less life cards, give up to 2 Rested Dawn cards to one of your characters. Okay, really good stuff there. Now, here is the 2 Momonosuke's, very solid. The 2 Yamatos, the 4 Ashura Dojis, the 4 Izos, and the 2 2K counter Kinemon. Now, let's go ahead and drop down to the next line here. Check this out, guys. Now, they put Ace in here, apparently. Again, I'm assuming this list is correct wherever they found this, wherever they found this from on Discord. But this is Portgosti Ace. It's a 5-cost, 5,000 power, 2K counter character. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. And this has Odyssey and Whitebeard Pirates type. This is not even it's not even searchable by Yamato. See, that would have been cool if they had done that, guys. I think, man, what if they had made it where Yamato could search up Ace as well? Hang on, I'm not crazy, right? It doesn't say that, does it? No, it doesn't. Man, that would have been really cool if they had done that. Anyway, all right, let's keep moving. So they have the 2K counter Ace, very solid utility, 5-cost card. Then we have Inurashi, 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter, Dawn ×2 when attacking, trash 1 card from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost equal to or less than the number of your opponent's life cards. Trigger, play this card out if your opponent has 3 or less life cards. Kawamatsu, these cards have been in the game for a while, guys, so pause and read these if you don't know what they do, but I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. Kawamatsu, 3 cost, 5K, when attacking, trash 2 cards from your hand, add up to one of your characters with 0 power to the top or bottom of the owner's life card face up. Trigger, play it out if your opponent has 3 or less life. This card's actually kind of interesting with the new 0 power Yamato, because you might be able to get further value from that card with an effect like this, or like Hiyori. Your 0 power cards, no problem. We'll just push those back, you know, to our life and recycle them for later, right? Trashing 2 cards from hand, you're gaining a life, and you're going to get that card's utility back later. Okay, next up is Kinemon, 4 cost, 6,000 power on KO. If your opponent has 3 or less life, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. To the top of your life cards. And then trigger, play this out if your opponent has 3 or less life. Okay, now going down to the bottom right, we got Denjiro. This is a 5 cost, 6,000 power character. Dawn ×2 if your opponent has 3 or less life cards. This character cannot be KO'd by effects. Then we have Neko Mamushi. Looks like there's 4 of them. They're just kind of stacked weird. There should be 4 of these. Neko Mamushi it's a 4 cost, 5,000 power character with a 1k counter. Dawn ×2. This character can also attack your opponent's active characters. Really good effect on Neko Mamushi. And then trigger, if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, play this card. So you guys see the theme. If your opponent has 3 or less life cards, I wish they would just stick with that theme, honestly. And then we have Raizo, 3 cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter. When attacking, you may trash 1 card from your hand. Rest up to 1 of your opponent's Dawn cards. Trigger. If your opponent has 3 or less life cards, play this card. That when attacking is actually not bad, but you're trashing a card from hand. That feels kind of rough, but I don't know. It has some potential against decks that are trying to be defensive. Then we have the 2k counter Yamato from ST-13. It's a 5 cost, 4,000 power, 2k counter that has rush. And look at all your life cards. Place 1 at the top of your deck and place the rest back in your life area in any order. This card is actually probably pretty good in green-yellow Yamato when you're trying to go for lethal, because it ends up being a 5 cost 6k rush card with your leader effect. That's actually not that bad. This card's pretty good in green-yellow Yamato. Okay, then we have some events over here. Just one, we have Blaze Slice. There we go. So we have Blaze Slice over here. This is a 1 cost event that says it's a main or counter with up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. So for the counter, that's 1k for the turn. Then if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with the cost of 4 or less. Trigger, rest 1 of your opponent's characters with the cost of 4 or less. There we go, and that is the Land of Wano card. So let me go ahead and streak my camera down now while we talk about this. Let me say right now, this starter deck... Now, this is a well-made starter deck. Like, this is a really cool starter deck here, guys. I'm not saying it's, like, going to win you a tournament out of the box. I'm talking about, like, if you open this starter deck and start playing, look at how cool this is. You just bash into your opponent's face as aggressively as you can. You're getting triggers from life. Let me see. Guys, this deck comes with... Let me count it up real quick. We'll come back to the Kinemon, actually. So, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 26... Over half the deck is triggers. Like, that is awesome. Like, that is a fun deck to play right there. You're attacking him with double strike with your leader. You can give it banish with this Izo. You're gaining life with the Kikinojo. Kawamatsu can gain you life with something like the Yamato. There's not a lot of targets for it. I'm not going to lie. It's just Yamato for now. But hey, there's some potential there. This Momonosuke is going to help you close out games. The Ashura Doji, you've got removal built in. You have searchers. You know, you have events that can tap down characters to get around blockers. You have this Portgoss the Ace to tap down stuff. Guys, this is a really, really nice starter deck coming out of the box. You know, again, like to have fun with. Now, it doesn't have any top end, but that's what Yamato is. Yamato is meant... I think, guys, I know people like to build Yamato in Fortress style, and that's fine. You can do whatever you want to. Build the deck however you want to. That's a cool idea. But here's the thing. The original design and intent for this leader is clearly meant to be more aggressive, and if there was ever any question about that, look at this starter deck. It clearly has a specific, you know, design mentality built into it. And that, again, that doesn't mean you can't build it other ways. You can build it however you want to. But this is a really cool design here. I'm a big fan of this as opposed to Bonney. Guys, I feel like Bonney was meant to be a control deck, but then when we go back to those cards, look what happened. This is like a pure aggro list, guys. It's like a pure aggression, like aggro deck list. I don't understand. Whereas Bonney is built to be more defensive. You pay 1 and you rest a character down. But I don't know. Guys, maybe that's what it is. Maybe we're building Bonney wrong. Maybe we need to build it more aggressive. All right, I'm done, guys. I'm done yapping. Tell me what y'all thought in the tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. Let's go and get the outro page on here. Got to fix my camera for this, don't we? Guys, I really appreciate everybody who supports the channel, guys. Whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, using my TCG player affiliate link, whatever you're doing to help me out, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. To everybody who donates through Patreon or PayPal, the Playmat supporters, the YouTube members, the Discord community. Thank you to everybody who's helping out the channel. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. All right, I hope y'all enjoyed that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. Tell me what y'all thought in the comment section below. Until next time, guys. Peace.